Welcome to NBA Film Room. Today we're breaking down the Indiana Pacers. I understand not many people give a explicit about the Indiana Pacers, but you should, since Andrew Nembhard returned in December 6th. They have a 119.2 offensive rating. Prior to that, it was a 114. In that same span, they have a 114 and a half defensive rating. Prior to that, it was a 118. This is a team that's gotten a lot better since they've been healthy and they've had Nemhard back. Breaking down what they do right here. So right here, this is a possession. Second possession of the game. This is the Clippers, who I believe are like a top 3 defensive team, if not they're just outside of that. Just to highlight some of like the fun skills that these players have. So this initial action, they're trying to get Siakam with this switch onto Harden. You attack a mismatch there. They have this guy Siakam. He's made an All-Star game this year. He's been really good, probably the best he's been since his first couple years with Toronto. They get this mismatch, and they send this extra attention. Turner's a good space guy, right? He spaces the floor very well. Clippers split the difference between these 4 guys. And he dishes here. I don't think this is the correct pass. I think the correct pass should go to one of these guys from Siakam. But watch how Nembhard, he has a little bit of like almost Shea-like to his game, where he kind of bends around here. Watch how he bends. Quick. He gets around Derrick Jones Jr., really good defensive player, and makes a really advanced pass around Zubac here. Just a little bit off target. If it's on target, they re-attack. But this is a play that they don't even end up scoring, I don't think. But it just highlights some of the skills that they have on this Pacers roster that I think are very important with that bend with Nembhard. And I think also here too, like, watch how Tyrese redirects Turner right here to send him over there, but then they readjust as the floor swings that other way. So just really, really advanced stuff from Halliburton, not even on the ball. So right here, they give up a corner 3. I would say that, hey, like, whatever, they give up a corner 3, and watch how quick they push the pace up the floor. Really quick. And this pressures defenses the entire game, basically, is the fact that the Pacers are always a threat to run. They do a quick brush screen. You get Powell on the Halliburton, and they don't end up actually attacking that. They run this with Mathurin, who's had a great season. Like, he's gotten so much better this year, especially defensively. It feels like he stays on the floor a lot better. I know he was hurt a little bit last year. Makes a pretty kind of advanced pass too. This is probably should be a shot. It doesn't end up being a shot. Like, live dribble offhand pass. Of course, the shot misses. But then even defensively, like, it's Nemhard, not Nemhard, Mathurin also typically, but does this. But Nemhard instantly picks the ball up, or the main creator up right away, and like they do these type of things that would slow them down, and they're really, really quick to send this extra attention when guys are not super quick to get down the floor. And they know this since they play that way offensively to consistently push the pace. They know how to take advantage when other teams don't push the pace. And so right here on this play, it cuts out for a second. Well, they're extending pressure at the 8-minute mark in a February regular season game. They cut to Siakam here, but Halliburton's pressuring the ball the whole way here. And watch how it just cuts the clock down repeatedly. And just this recognition from Naismith to come over there, or Nemhard, Jesus, they have all the M and guys. It creates a runaway play, and a couple of these have happened for the Clippers early in this game, and Pacers are getting back with theirs. And can I say something? What are we doing, man? Can we get this out of the broadcast of our sport here? What are we doing, man? Talk about the game. Our lines, Indiana. You think they're gonna cover the spread? So right here on this play, this is like excellent stuff. A lot of what Indiana runs never really feels like designed actions, but over here they get a um, switch here because what ends up happening is Derek Jones Jr. recognizes this. Zubac takes away the roller on the original initial ball screen. Then Turner comes and sets a screen. And watch what happens on the backside of this play. Zubac is the help here on this, right? By nature, he's the center. He probably should be the guy helping. In this case scenario, he does need to be the help man. Halliburton rejects the screen, comes this way, and watch what Nemhard does down here with Powell. He did this earlier on a missed 3-point attempt from Matherin. Like they do this type of stuff live reactive, you know, in the moment of the play. Like that's probably not scripted, right? But they see something that happens. It's like an if then statement. If this happens, then pin the guy down and you have an open corner three. And they do this stuff extremely well in India. Right here, this is after a made basket. Halliburton pressuring the inbounder. In the first quarter, Siakam's up here pressuring Kawhi Leonard. They just have a really, um, they really emphasize the importance of just mugging up the game and high pickup points here from Nemhard. A lot of teams are not picking up this high on James Harden. Like, I wish the Knicks would have these high of pickup points. There's a screen up there. They're going under it. Either way, really aggressive style, taking away ball handlers, and just look at the targeting of the ball there by Halliburton as well. Like, he's 6'5", but he's not a big guy. Targets the ball excellent there, and I think he's been a little bit better defensively this season, even if the traditional box score numbers aren't there, and he'll have a couple of off days. So we talk about how they punish teams for not hustling back. Nemhard is here on this play. He's on James Harden. James Harden's way behind the play. He keeps his eye on the ball the whole time. He's doing the driving thing. He's looking at the ball. He's looking there. He's looking at the mirror. He's looking at the road. That's what he's doing. Matherin gets cooked here. Siakam comes over, and Nemhard is already knowing that he has to close out to Kawhi Leonard. I know Siakam fouls him here. There's no pass to Harden available. Just little things like that. If Siakam doesn't get called for a hacky tack foul, then that's a clean defensive possession, and there's really nothing else the Clippers can do on offense. So in this game, as of right now, they are losing this game. The Clippers are red hot from three. That doesn't mean that Indiana is playing bad defense. This is a high ball screen to try to take away the early pressure that Indiana's sending on every possession. Switch it perfectly. Naismith runs with Harden. Really good here. They shut down this initial drive. Good hands up defense. Shepherd gets the kick out, chases around that Eubank screen. That's a really good play by Shepherd right there. And they just muddy everything up, and they end up having to run this post up to Harden. I think a really important part too. The guys up here, watch their eyes. They're so active and looking. They're taking things away. Obi Toppin's seeing this play before it even happens. And Obi Toppin's a guy who got played out of rotations because his defensive deficiencies before. They're doing a good job to get the most they can out of a lot of guys. And just look how everybody's involved. Ends up in a 3-point attempt. James Harden makes it. Not much you could do. They played really good defense the whole possession. On this last play of the quarter here, I just want to point out something because this is something that happens with Nemhard, it's McConnell, it's Halliburton. Just look at this dexterity ability to just knife through this, and then he cuts through him a little bit more contact. There's 4 bodies going at a guy who's ridiculously small in NBA terms. Ends up no basket anyway, but there's just bendability to all of their ball handlers to just continue to push deep into the paint. None of them are great rim finishers, but they all can get 2 feet in the paint consistently, and I think that's a big part of what really makes them super good. Again, note this score here. They're down 20. And look at this play, because this is super quick, right? 19 seconds on the shot clock. They're already getting into this action. They throw the pass to Obi here. And then it's like two guys are sprinting full speed. Obi Toppin sprinting full speed. Nick Batum cannot keep up with that and then be in position to guard this action where McConnell's now sprinting full speed and it just gets them a rim attempt. Just really easy way to get a rim attempt. Of course they don't make it. Clippers instantly get into double off ball for Kawhi Leonard and Naismith just navigates it perfectly. Of course, it's like not a non-screen from Zubac there. And then just this instant switch, communicate, instant switch. So the play before this, the Pacers go into a little zone. Uh, I think the very interesting part is you just kind of look around the floor and you're like, yep, nobody's going to hurt you from mid range except the guy with the ball. Obviously, the attention goes to the guy with the ball, and they're very conscious of the weak spot of the zone. Watch what Shepard does here. Slides down, takes the zone breaker away. And then Obi Toppin then takes it away on the next play. I don't know why. I guess he points to Bryant when he goes to the other side, and this is a disengagement. But they're applying man principles to the zone. It's basically like a match thing in NFL ball, right? I think Bryant's supposed to come up and take that away, and it's a very interesting practice of a 2-3 zone that they're still being true to the zones, but they're not allowing for the zone breaker to happen, and that really improves the quality of a zone defense. This is just another zone defense play that I think is really good. Watch how Shepard, Toppin obviously has his eyes on the zone breaker. Shepard tries to deny it. They don't get it. I think that's a little bit of we didn't have to go that aggressively to Chris Dunn, and then especially don't close out in that direction. The floor's lined up this way with shooters. I don't know. They were just, they'll make mistakes in real time. Kawhi misses this shot. Clippers get the rebound, tap out. Look at this. This awareness to close out to this side, closer to the shooter versus the one before, and just hands. Awesome stuff. Here's a play here that, like, it's never going to show up here, but this is how the court currently is set up after Bryant Halliburton pick and roll. Shepard's over here, and the Matherin's over here. There's so many of those names. Um, give and go, boom, pick and roll. Ghosted it. They ghosted it. And then that quick pass. And they just have so many guys who they make the right play. I think Siakam, Halliburton, I think those are guys that you wouldn't necessarily think of lead creators in these really elite offenses. Like I said, I think their offensive rating since December 6th would put them like third in the league right now. But it's like an egalitarian approach to everything. And the lack of selfishness on the offensive and defensive end, I think, really helps them. This is a really little thing that matters so much. They get the ball into Matherin, all right? They do this traditional space type of thing here. Watch what happens when they attack to this side of the floor. Watch what Nembhard and Halliburton do. Nembhard cuts through to move Powell out of this driving lane. Halliburton comes up, and then Nembhard goes to the corner. So they still maintain, this 3-out, 2-guy in the paint spacing. It's just they did it in a way that allowed this nail defender to not sink in, and they had to really commit to sliding over or leave a guy open in the corner. And just those little things are so huge because they stop turnovers and they lead to open shots, which, Nembhard's gotten better. They gave him a foul call anyway, but sometimes he'll miss those. Sometimes he'll get foul calls there. That was a good attack by him. They end up trying to get the Siakam post up. Coffee, he's got length. He doesn't have the strength probably to take Siakam away. Nembhard sees this and makes this cut right to the middle of the floor. Just these little cuts, because then Harden, probably next time he won't feel as able to go over and make this rotation because he's expecting Nembhard to be in the corner right here. Obviously, now they're making the shot. So that's a bonus, but a really good process. 2 consecutive plays here. Right here. Hedge. Harden's trying to throw his pocket pass. Hands. Got that. And then right on this next play, they turn the Clippers over right again, and it's really so again really good at taking advantage when teams don't play with pace. That the Clippers are trying to just slow this down, and watch what Harden's just jogging right here. Harden is no threat to score ever in this situation. Nemhard comes over, takes the ball. Don't tell me they did it again. Look at this. Huh. Oh, really good player right there too. Loses the ball. It just puts extra pressure on the offense. Yep. Last play of the quarter here. Let's just peep the score. Oh, Pacers are now leading by 4. They were trailing by 22 before that. Big comeback right there. We'll finish up the second half. Right here, they run a spread pick and roll for Kawhi Leonard. Guys, just everybody always has their eye on the ball. Nemhard rolls over on the nail and just quick, super quick, gets a hand in the face on the 3-point attempt. This defensive play is really big. So here they run a big pick and roll. They get this switch. I think it was a little late here from Siakam, but I do want to highlight this play that this nail help from Halliburton also forces Kawhi to pick up the dribble. This roll is definitely there, by the way, right? Like Nemhard, he's great, but he's not stopping that. And switch, like automatically, Halliburton comes to help. Naismith takes that away, and Halliburton just super quick between those guys. They don't even communicate it. They just know what to do. Ends up tripping. But if he doesn't trip there, Norman Powell doesn't even get a shot up. If you want context of how quick they are, ball hasn't been inbounded yet. They have this camera on Steve Ballmer right here. Dunk. Can't really break down what happened there. It looked like there was a high ball screen and somebody was guarding, or 2 guys were guarding 1 person. I don't know. And I think the empowerment of Siakam, I talked about it preseason. I was really high on the Pacers. At first, they really scared me. Now I'm very confident in how I felt about them. Siakam's their change-up, dude. Their fast-paced stuff, that's their heater. Siakam just this type of thing. That's their change-up. And they did it a ton. Norman Powell, James Harden, fronting the post. They just throw passes over him, and Siakam gets a bunch of layups. I don't think I'm going to include them in the film, but dude, Siakam, they're empowering him even further than Siakam. There'll be a couple plays where Obi Toppin and Aaron Nesmith are running full speed towards the baseline, and they're just empowered to make around the baseline passes and just do a bunch of difficult things. And I would assume it's on the coaching level that's encouraging them to be themselves out there. And that's got to be a big part of why this Pacers team is so good offensive. So if I did have to be critical about one thing with Indiana here, it would be this section of their games. Naismith, Shepard, they're great players, and they're very similar players. When it gets to these kind of bench lineups, they are not very strong offensively. What ends up happening here is Toppin's not attacking Chris Dunn. And there's some really good defense off the bench from this Clippers team, like Batum and Chris Dunn coming in, and they just play a ton of great defense. And this Pacers bench is just not very capable. Like even McConnell, who is a pretty good guy at getting 2 feet in the paint, he's still really limited size-wise and his shots there, so teams don't really play the shot. There's not very any strong ball handlers outside of him out there. And then it can sometimes ends up with possessions that look pretty ugly. This one ends up happening, I don't know, more staggering of minutes. It's worth saying Miles Turner wasn't here for this game, and it ends up in an okay look, but I don't know, Thomas Bryant, they probably are like, hey, Clippers came in and like, hey, if Thomas Bryant shoots 4 threes this game, we feel pretty good about our chances. So this section may be more staggering of, Nembhard, Mathurin, McConnell. Halliburton rather than McConnell. They get significantly worse when one of those three guys isn't out there offensively. At least from the eye test wise, I'll take a second to get the numbers up. Yeah, so I pulled up the numbers on this particular lineup. They're actually still pretty good. Um, a lot of like really outlier shooting is a part of it. Like they're gonna have to shoot really well, and then I think in those lineups, like McConnell had like a really high steal rate, stealing a ton of passes. Ben Shepherd blocking 4% of shots, like kind of crazy. It's not like horrible results. It's just in the half court offense, it doesn't look very good. So they're really relying on creating turnovers, and in general, they are pretty good at creating turnovers. So it's just once it gets to this half court situation, I'm a little concerned about. And like right here on the next play, it's really blurry, but it gets better right here. Like it gets a little bit lost. It looks like a ton of guys just looking at each other versus knowing what they should do and then reading the court. It just gets a little bit worse in the half court than their normal starting lineup. And when they create some turnovers and shoot the lights out on whatever threes they shoot at the end of possessions, they're really good still. So and like right on time in the first play. They're up here. I think Shepard is the one who does it. Turnover, hands, and like literally the very next play, McConnell jumps a passing lane, I think, or yep, hands. Oh, can't skip that. Obi Toppin jumper. Very next defensive possession, just quick. Toppin's there. They X out here with McConnell, and then Obi Toppin goes and gets him. Just on the fly. Just everybody looks attentive. Everybody looks on the same page, and it creates so much better results. And yep, we'll live with that. It's another possession right here. It's just like watch how easily everything's neutralized by the Clippers just switching everything. Like they don't have much in these lineups that can attack mismatches. And yeah, it gets muddy a couple possessions with their bench lineup. And damn, this play ends up being a Kawhi isolation, but this floor is it's spaced with four guys on the baseline. But when this happens, watch how Nemhard just shuts down the drive and recovers so quick to Norman Powell. There's no advantage there. I mean, sure, there's a baseline advantage. Clippers get the rebound and then like does basically the same thing here on this Kawhi drive. Slides over, pick up, and is out of there so quick because he knows Siakam can make that recovery, and just really good. It ends up being called a foul. Just wanted to point that out. Just a little thing that they do out there that's really good. I think this position too is pretty important. Right here, 24 seconds. There's speed and then there's being rushed. And I think this is a position where Indiana looks really rushed. Of course, like Halliburton's still very controlled, but just look at that quick pass fake. Everything they're doing feels a little bit rushed. And I think that's where, Mathurin here. Mismatch, I don't hate the attack. And it ends up being a good pass. But I think Siakam in this situation, they get him the ball on the low block a lot. And that's what I mean with the changeup, right? When they are in a position where they can't be overwhelmingly fast for the defense, and the defense then speeds them up for even what's comfortable for how fast they typically go, Siakam is key for them. And, this game, I think he had like 40 points. And then look at this play. This is what I would call controlling pace, right? Halliburton ends up making the shot, obviously. So I don't like to be results oriented. I like to be process oriented when I design this. But this additional pace is to adjust off of a defense that Harden and Powell just aren't attentive. That's your help defense. They're not attentive, and then it ends up in this situation, they haven't been able to communicate what's going on, and yep, Halliburton gets an open 3-point attempt. That's pace, and they do so well playing when they're in that type of a rhythm versus the possession before where they felt a little rushed. And like, watch this too with Nemhard. Already at this nail, communicates to Halliburton to rush over there in that situation. Just forces this pickup and balls out of Kawhi Leonard's hands. They end up getting another steal here. hands. And I think Matherin has some of this slow down stuff to him. He slows it down, and like this, when he first came into the league, this is what was most intriguing about him: his ability to just put his head down and get to the rim, and he gets insane free throw attempt numbers for how low usage he is. Yeah, fun stuff like that with Benedict. I mean, this play is crazy. Watch Andrew Nemhard on this play. He does his Draymond Green impersonation right here. He starts on Harden, he recovers to take away the short roll pass, and then he gets to this point and he just kind of hangs around, double teaming. That pullover from Thomas Bryant, he just comes over to take away that cut, really big. It's pretty easy play to make, but you'd be surprised how often it's missed. And he just ends up on the shooter over here. Like, he did everything on that possession. Kind of crazy. Yeah, Pacers end up winning this game after being down 22 at the end of the first quarter. Like, it was a big game for them. I think the high pickup points on defense are a big thing for them. And it's like kind of the counter of them playing with pace on offense. They're trying to limit the pace of their opponents. Um, I think the engagement of the entire team, I think more so than any team in the NBA. I mean, Cleveland probably plays very similarly, at least in the mindset wise, where every player on offense is involved. Every player in defense is involved, and they're always working in unison together. And it's really just great basketball being played over in Indiana. And yeah, I wish it was talked about a little bit more because they're awesome. They're awesome, you know, and they're outside of the six teams that are talked about on a daily basis. That'll do it for this NBA Film Room episode. Went to the full game film today. I wanted to showcase their offense and their defense. So we'll see you guys next time.